and welcome to the No Taboo Woo Woo Show.
I'm Sandra Logan.
And I'm Gail Chisholm.
If you enjoy being a fly on the wall of deep and meaningful conversations between pals on all things spirituality, healing, and personal empowerment, then you have landed on the right podcast.
Enjoy today's episode.
Hello.
Welcome.
Coming to you live from the summer house, which is so lovely. I love it in here. It's like a little cocoon. It's so nice.
I am hoping for a summer house in my future.
Manifesting it for you, Gail. Manifesting it for myself, because this is at my friend's abode, so it's really beautiful to be able to enjoy this. And also, like, it's so cool when you experience stuff like this in a different environment, because it gives you the clarity on what you would really love and value in your life. And it never even crossed my mind that a summer house would be something that I would love as much as I do. And I just genuinely love it, because it's like it's almost like a little home away from home. So it's like it creates a little bit of separation and peace and quiet, and I just really love it. And it's looking out, you can't see, but it's looking out over the green of the garden. It's so lovely and peaceful. So you're thinking you're going to get one for your garden?
Well, I was talking to, so Bob's going to build a workshop for himself, and like he'd originally said about building me an office in the garden, and I was like, no, don't worry. And then what he was saying, because I'm now doing more, like, obviously my embodiment classes, and now I'm doing Kundalini yoga teacher training, like, space has been something that has been highlighted to me, in that I have plenty of space for working, but when you need to practice or deliver things that require you to be able to lie down and move, you need a bit more space. So I have been commandeering the lounge a bit more for that, and I think it would be nice to have things a bit separate. So Bob was saying he's going to build himself, so he's going to have a workshop kind of along the back, and then he'd said to me, he was like, I think I was going to build you like a summer house type yoga. He called it.
I love that you've got a man that has the skills to be able to do that.
Well,
I've got a vision, and he can help bring it to reality.
Yeah, cool. And what he was then saying is, because we were chatting about it, and he's like, he'd had it in his head for a while, but he's going to basically, it will end up being kind of like all one building in an L shape, but he's going to create a wall on a pivot point, so that actually if I need more space, it'll pivot down and shut off part of his workshops, and then I'll have a longer room.
Okay.
And then days where he might, if he's working on something that's really massive, because to be honest his workshop will be huge, like the whole width of the garden, it would then pivot back, and then he would just take that little bit of extra space. So I was like, okay.
Oh, cool.
I was like, so when's that happening? Oh, it's the worst stuff, I know.
Get to it.
But in the meantime, although it's like, my house is very spacious, but when you start to add more people in, you realise actually how much space I like to have, and how much my previous house just had more space to be in.
Yeah.
So like my office it's bijou compared to my last one, and it's great, because it's, you know, when you sort of think, you know, you make the space your own with like the things around you and actually the ways of working, and but then when it comes to, as I say, what I need for certain things, like I could meditate in here on the floor, but there's no way I can do like a, you know, a wee cat cow or a downward dog or anything like that.
Yeah, you need to roll out your mat, eh?
Yeah.
It's interesting because you've got, because you're a Leo rising, you're a Leo sun as well, you've got Jupiter has entered into your first house, which is the house of self. And Jupiter's the planet that calls for expansion. It's like we want to expand, we want to take up more space. And being in the sign of Leo literally is like the sign to take the stage. And like it's like the mat is like a stage too, because it's like where you get to show up and you get to shine and you get to be yourself and share all your gifts with the world. So it's like, I find it so interesting how that energy can show up in so many different ways in different people's lives. So it's like the literal taking up space.
Yeah.
You know?
It's interesting because, like, you know, when we sort of moved in and we've opened up downstairs, so like I did say to Bob, I was like, because this office is quite wee, and it's in the sort of darkest corner of the house, which is not really what lights me up. But like I do enjoy like everything, like I use everything's within space and everything like that. But originally had been like, oh yeah, I'll be able to like I can bring my laptop down, work at the dining table or like into the kitchen area, or just even like as I say, doing work on the floor down in the living
Yeah.
room. But what I find is I get frustrated with then having to take my laptop down. And I like the fact that my space is set up, it's all contained. I
Yeah.
can just like be in here, which is probably a bit of the Virgo liking and
I
liking
was
things
just
to be
about to say you've
organized.
got Virgo Mercury, haven't you, as well?
Yeah,
Likes a bit of
it's
organisation.
yeah, and it's interesting, isn't it? And you just sort of and then when you said about because obviously originally if we'd had an office outside, it would have probably had the space to um to have things like incorporate things, and some of it is just clever storage. And thankfully, Bob's been joining her, so we have been talking on some of that. And what the desk that like the furniture that I have brought here was bought for a house where the rooms were just bigger in different dimensions. So I could like I've got a sit stand desk, so I could get rid of that and buy something smaller. But then I'm like, I really like my sit stand desk, so it's
Yeah.
a bit like you know it's just adapting and and creating new habits. And humans are very adaptable, and I think as soon as you start to realize like the space you're in, you're like actually after a couple of days you're like you don't really notice the things you were moaning about before. you know you'll notice that from like being in van life to not being in van life to living in one room to living in several rooms to then have the space to
Yeah.
expand. We forget that actually we can adapt. Humans are a very adaptable species.
Yeah, especially me being 7 mutable placements in astrology. I'm literally adaptable. But then it's like it's also is like what are the structures and the systems and stuff like around us that we need in place to actually create some sort of like routine and stability and make things easier for ourselves. Like that's the thing about the Virgo placements is it's like where can we have more organization and more like it's like your office, you say, for example, having a space that you can go to where you know where everything is. And it's like you can just get straight into the work that you're doing or what it is you need to focus on. You're not thinking about what you need to do in order to prepare to be in that space. It's like it's just there. I think that those kind of things like really do support us. I've learned that a lot from having been in such a changeable setting for life and for trying to do business. It's like there were so many variables that it made it challenging. So while like I think that's an extreme example of like adaptability was like giving myself too much to change in order to like then creating any sort of like foundation or routine and things like that was quite challenging. It's been interesting reflecting on that, like being out of van life now, because it's very different way of life. So it's like it's all these different life experiences though. I love the reflection that they give you and the different perspective of like also in learning what works for you, like because what works for one person might not necessarily work for another, right? And it's finding the balance. For me it's always been about finding the balance. So yeah, still on that journey, see what the future holds. But it's like
Yeah.
how can you incorporate the change that supports you in the interim, because I'm like in another transitional period of life where it's like what can I do in the meantime to help create what it is that I need to support me through this time. So yeah, it's been interesting, but I think the whole space thing is really interesting, like being in a space that feels supportive and feels like you can expand in, you know.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, I had a sort of a wee tidy up yesterday. I had sent out in my, I wasn't in my newsletter, I was in my, Substack around. I was talking about grounding, and actually, one of the things you can do to kind of ground yourself is tidy up some of your space or like clean some of your space. It doesn't have to even be big. And I was
Yeah.
realizing that things yesterday had not got away with me, but I was like, I bought a few books recently relating to like my yoga, but they were sort of strewn everywhere, and you know, and I like, I'm not like tidy, anal tidy, but I do like things to have a place, and I like to not feel like I
Yeah.
have to trip over things, you know, and that I can find things. I find it funny living with a manager who interestingly is a Virgo, and I'm like, surely you should be more organized than this. But if he asked me once, have you seen my car key, girl? He's asked me 6 million times. And like, maybe you could hang it on the hooks
I was
that
just
we
about to
put
say you
in.
need a hook when you come in the door to hang up. And then
We
you've
have
got the
about
hook.
six in the beautiful place on top of a really beautiful piece of walnut that he put on, like, so. And I'm
Oh,
like, what are you doing, man? I was laughing because we were away last weekend, and we went into this shop that does like printed t-shirts and key rings and stuff like that. And I got a key ring. I'm like, what does sure mine says something like it's like fuck playing small, but I can't remember the words on it. But basically it's like, you
ooh.
know, no more. I actually need to put on my keys. He got something, he has a saying which uses a very bad word that I don't use. It's basically instead
See
when
you next
you know this
Tuesday
phrase that
one.
when someone gives you lemons, make lemonade, and he's like, I don't
Uh-huh.
like lemonade, and he's a bit more when someone gives you lemons, squeeze it in some. See you next Tuesday's eye, just like right, oh Bob, and
Oh my god.
needless to say, the lady in the shop had never heard that one before, but I was laughing because he posted a picture on his Facebook. He doesn't post very often on his Facebook page, but he was so pleased with himself. He was like, you know, and if you know him, and I mean, he's like, everyone, people were commenting by like, oh my God, that's so you. And if you've heard him say the phrase, because sometimes it's like, and it weirdly, when you sort of distill it down, like, you know, when someone can make lemonade of it, sometimes you want to just be angry at
Yeah.
whatever the thing that has come into your life and be like, no, like, don't be a, like, you know, so I can sort of see a little bit of where he was coming from. But the other thing I got was there was it's a Stevie Nicks t-shirt I got printed onto something.
Oh, cool.
But I've on my TikTok feed. There's been a few. I really like t-shirts, but I find the fit is not great for my body shape nor my
Yeah,
style.
I feel that with
So
t-shirts, I struggle to find something that really I feel like me in.
yeah, well, I've started. So I have a t-shirt that actually I must have splattered something on it. So I decided to have a play around with cutting it based on some
Oh, cool.
TikTok, the University of TikTok. um,
I wonder
and
if
that
it's the
actually,
same woman that I saw that has like a very cool witchy sort of look
yeah,
and very
probably.
dark background and stuff. Like, and she chops up t-shirts and like creates frays and all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah.
And like, she is so cool.
But even just cutting off the neckline actually is really helpful because those
Yeah.
high round sort of crew necks aren't necessarily the most flattering for a lot of people. So even just playing around with that and cutting the length and cutting the sleeves and to so that
Yeah.
things finish in better points on your body and plays
Do you
around
not
better with
find it?
proportions.
Do you not find it rolls though?
Yeah, but I quite like it.
So it just rolls a wee bit, like enough to
Yeah.
look like it's meant to be like that.
Yeah.
We might have a wee play
I mean,
about.
what you could do is if you wanted to have it more finished, is just cut it and hem it. So use your machine.
Yeah.
Um, I'm now turned into the sewing bee. But no,
Well,
I like it. It's really cool. But yeah, that was a really cool little shop down in Shrewsbury. But yeah,
oh,
I'm sure
cool.
I need to dig out my. I also, when I was there, I found a little crystal shop. I was laughing. Bob is raging. I ended up being in the shop for like nearly 30 minutes because when I went, I bought two things. One is the tarot deck, which we'll come on to, and the other thing was a book on moon cycles. But it was written by, it's like a locally produced one, as the, I want to put my teeth in, like a independently published
Mm-hmm.
So it was written by a local author, but it was more than I'd really anticipated spending. But it's quite cool. But I do need to put my glasses on to read it because it's quite a small book, but actually ram packed full of information, and it goes through each phase of the moon. So it's not just a full
Love
moon.
that.
Yeah, and about living in alignment with it. Um, so I got chatting to the lady who owned the shop, and then I think she'd had a slow morning because she kept chatting and chatting, and Bob was sort of hanging in the background. Then he just left, and then he was like, "I've been gone for like 15 minutes," and I was just like, "Dude,
I've
it's a
been having a
crystal
great
shop."
time.
Um, so yeah, so I mean, part of it was probably my fault because I kept chatting to her, like, but there was a bit, I was trying to wind up the conversation without being rude because I was like interested in her chat, but um, it was a nice wee crystal shop in Shrewsbury. And then I
I love
spotted there was
crystal
another
shop.
one, but I was like, I can't ask Bob to go in there, given that we've just spent half an hour in one.
Ah,
So
he could go off and do something for himself. Go and get a drink somewhere or something and
it's quite
maybe
hard because, like, I
chill.
mean, I suppose like we were there, like if I'd been there for longer, maybe I would have gone. And if we're staying in Shrewsbury, I probably would have gone back myself. But it was yeah, his attention span was fairly limited to one crystal
Yeah.
shop. Um, but yeah, it's
That
good.
was one thing I have to say that with my ex, because he was into that stuff as well, I got away with being in there. I could be in a crystal shop chatting away to people for hours. An hour and a half goes by and I'm like, I really need to go. Um, just because I love it. I love the chat and like I think it's also being in those spaces and talking with people who have like, you know, like are on this similar wavelength and that you can have conversations around like all of the spiritual. It's nice to be in those spaces and to meet like-minded people and get a blather and also look at all
Yeah,
the pretty things and the decks and the crystals and the books and all that stuff. Like I love it.
I think it's also about, are you the type of person who likes a conversation with a stranger?
Yeah.
And Bob's probably not really one of them. On
Oh, at least
something,
you had a good time though.
maybe. But yeah, no, it was lovely. It was a
Yeah.
nice weekend away. Some
I
cool
want
little
to.
purchases.
Oh, nice. I want to hear about your deck. Get your decks out for them.
Weirdly, I had set an intention when I was going to Shrewsbury. I was like, I would like the universe to bring me a drum or a rattle, like shamanic drum or shamanic rattle, into my life. That's what I'd really like.
Yeah.
Um, but I didn't really go. I wasn't going looking for it, and but not that there was really anything there. Anyway, so that didn't come into my life. So instead, obviously, I got my little moon book, and then I was having a look at the decks that she had. And she had some nice oracle decks and everything. I didn't really need another tarot deck, um, but this one spoke to me for something. It's called Wise Earth Medicine Tarot by a lady called Lalania Simone, and she's done other decks. She has where did I
Let us
see?
see the deck.
Oh, so it's she's the author of Urban Soul Warrior, which is a book. She's also created the Oracle of Awakening and the Tarot of Cosmic Seed, which have diverse representations of people and cultures from around the world. She's the co-owner of Alchemy Ritual Goods, a popular spiritual shop in Denver, Colorado. Um, but this one, Wise Earth Medicine Tarot, um, so it's all about, so it draws on the well of wisdom using the symbolism of living creatures of this planet. Um, and the word medicine relates to that which makes us well or helps us find our internal balance. The medicine we receive through this deck is in the messages provided by the innate intelligence of life. Um, it's interesting because she said something like she hasn't designed the cards necessarily to be like on the Rider Waite, like the imagery on there will help you understand the meaning or the
Yeah.
part in like the journey that the individual is on. But she said that um the images and what she's chosen doesn't necessarily relate. She says here that she hopes this deck creates a bridge between the tarot and oracle traditions. And she says
Oh, okay.
these cards are designed to adhere to the style and structure of the Rider-Waite Tarot, but the suits have been replaced and renamed with their elements. And then she says you will find traditional card interpretations as well as the earth medicine offered by each card. So the cards do have, so I'll show you, this is the back of the deck. Do love a
Oh,
cheese
that's
plan.
cool. What does the
Um,
deck look like? The actual
so the whole
box.
one, it's got, I didn't know this until I opened the box, is it's got
Oh yeah,
foil
so
sides, so it's green
pretty.
foil sides. It's actually quite a big deck. So
Uh-huh.
like there's my hand.
Oh yeah, it's more oracle
And
sized, isn't it?
it is.
What's the
Um,
cover of the deck look like? I want to have a nosy. You got it to
it's
hand, or
the
is it?
same, I think.
Oh right, cool. I don't. I was just wondering if I'd seen it before because I don't
In
recognise it.
fact, that's the cover of the box.
Oh no, I have seen that before. I think I've seen that in the Black Moon Botanica off the Grass Market in
Yeah.
Edinburgh. When we were in there, that looks
Um,
familiar.
I didn't see it. Well, it
Did you not
obviously
see
wasn't
it?
talking to
Maybe
me
it
then
wasn't
at that
there.
time. I'm just laughing because I've read the back now and it says this package contains 78 gilt edge. I'd read the
Oh,
Blueberry box, but it was a beautiful surprise when I opened it.
oh, nice.
But like that's the back, so I liked how it had some images of the cards
Yeah.
because I think that's important when you're trying to sort
Oh,
of
it's
think
so
of the deck
important.
speaking to you.
Hmm.
But because of my kind of shamanic Reiki, I've been trying to get more into animals and earth connections. So the
Oh, it's
suits in
awesome.
this one, so you've got water for cups, fire for wands, um, air for swords, and earth for pentacles.
Yeah.
And the images that she uses, because I did go through it when I kind of got the deck. I'm really annoyed now because I did ask it how it would help me, and I've forgotten the cards that came out in terms of its interpretation. Um, but like each of the animals or the earth elements that are the images that are on there in my head do kind of relate to the energy of the card, but
Oh,
also of
okay.
like the suit. So, for example, just at the bottom of the deck, we've got the Three of Fire, which is um, the Three of
Once.
Wands. It's actually an eagle.
Oh, that's cool.
Or then or here's like Two of Water, and it's a seahorse. So,
Oh,
and then
nice.
each of the cards does have like three words at the bottom to help you
Oh,
interpret,
yeah.
um, which might help just because obviously the images don't necessarily play out a scene.
Hmm.
And then in the booklet, so it talks a little bit around the card and then the medicine. So, like, what's the medicine of the card around? Why might this show up and what can you do about it? So, I've been enjoying getting to know it.
Nice.
Um, like, it feels like it's sort of talking to me. It's really interesting. So, I did want to share something with you. So, I know that, so in the strength card, so if you were thinking animals and you were thinking strength, often I think of lion.
Yeah.
But in this deck, it's a jaguar. Easy for me to say.
Oh.
But then lion does show up as justice, truth, fair, and
Oh.
universal law. So it
That
says
is
here because the
interesting.
lion represents integrity and honor. So it's
That's
like that's
interesting.
interesting.
And also courage. And it takes courage to face the truth.
Yes,
Ooh.
I know. Shall I show you the card that I pulled out for
Yeah.
today?
Our guidance for the day. What you got for us?
Is the High Priestess,
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
and she is
Oh.
an
I
octopus.
was like, what is that? The
I know
lighting
it's
from the
probably a bit
best.
hard to see.
Oh, look at that. The colours are fab.
It's lovely.
Oh, I like
Um,
that. The octopus with its spidey senses, reaching out, sensing the environment.
yeah.
That's cool. What
So it
else did you
says
have?
here, so the words at the bottom are mystery, sacred, and wise. The High Priestess has an innate connection to the unseen worlds and to the cosmic mind, This card reminds you to align to the divine wisdom and the well of the infinite potential. The more you tap into your intuitive and psychic abilities, the more they will naturally expand. The medicine, then. The octopus is an animal of intuitive and psychic energy. It is deeply connected to the path of mysticism and the mysteries beyond the veil. The 8 legs represent infinity and access to pure potential. An octopus traverses the depths, changing shape and colour, blending and moving as if invisible, entering the realm of the unconscious. When the octopus comes into your life, it reminds you to tap into your inner wisdom. All you need is within.
It's my card, the High Priestess.
Yeah.
I love
The other
that.
thing that jumped to my mind when we started talking, and is it's like with all the legs, it's like juggling. But it's like,
Yeah.
where's the balance? You know, because it's sometimes you're like,
Yeah. Yeah, and also it's like the High Priestess always says, it's like instead of looking outside of you for the answers and trying to juggle too much outside of you, it's like going within to find out what is it that I need, what's my intuition trying to tell me, and how can I best honour that.
and it's also like, if you think of an octopus though, it's like it's got the suckers, so it's not really, it's a slow, it's almost like, it's like a slow juggle, not really like that. The energy is very different, and it's very, I always feel like octopuses are quite intentional.
Yeah, and so intelligent.
Yeah.
They're like super intelligent. And they navigate the deep waters. They're not afraid to travel deep. It's like the water representing our emotions as well. It's like diving deep to the unseen. They're cool, octopus. Really cool.
Yeah.
Because their eyes not on the end of their tentacles, or do they even have eyes? Is it just
They
that
do. I mean, I think
like-
they're on like the blobby body. David Bellamy, I am not. That's really a really poor reference. David Attenborough would be a better one for the audience.
Yeah.
I think because like it's got the legs that come out, and then there's a body,
Yeah.
and the eyes I think are on the body.
Ah. Okay. There we go.
But they're really powerful and strong. Like, you know, and I
Yeah.
think it's like, I don't mess with an octopus.
Because that's the thing, is like they can like sort of suffocate their prey, can't they, by wrapping their tentacles around it and like yeah. What's on the bottom of the deck?
Oh, it was the 3 of wind. I have shuffled a bit now.
Oh,
So
3 of wind or 3 of wands?
wind, which
Oh,
is
wind.
the 3 of
Or the air?
Is it wind, air? 3 of, maybe it was, hang on.
3 of
Oh no,
swords.
three of wind. No, it wasn't 3 of wind. It was the 3 of, let me just, sorry. Should have kept it. It was the one that I said first of all. 3 of
Oh,
fire,
it was
the
3
eagle.
of fire,
That's
so
what it
3
was,
of
which is the
wands.
3 of wands.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the one with the eagle on it, which is
Ah,
about
yeah.
perspective. Maybe take a different perspective for expansion, heightened awareness.
I love those together as well, because like the 3 of wands, it's like it's almost like a looking ahead at the horizon. The eagle's a great depiction of that, actually, because it's like that higher perspective, which is what the High Priestess asks us to look at as well. Is like it's seeing, because if you think an eagle goes about and they're looking on land, and they're like their senses are heightened. They're hunting really most of the time, but they're hunting and they're looking and they're so attuned to the little tiny things. They're seeing it from high up, but it's in being able to go so high that they can see so much.
The thing that's going through my head is as above, so below, because you've got the
Yeah.
up in the soaring up in the sky, and then
Yeah.
depth of the ocean.
Yeah.
So
It's
I've
like
been enjoying
action, like
the
pointing up
channel.
and pointing down. That's cool. You
It's
shuffling
been a
for
while. I've not been doing as much, but I've been, so in my Reiki graduate hearth, she does a thing where each month, like, so to deepen your connection to your Reiki healing and animals, and she does like you have a month to connect to a particular spirit, and if you put your name in the comments, she communes with her guides and tells you the thing to work with. So this month I've finally been able to join the challenge, and because I thought this was going to be a good thing for me to focus and to be better, is I've got given Meerkat as a
That's
spirit.
cool.
I know. And she said in the comments, she said like nobody she knows has worked with Meerkat energy before, and she's not used it, so she'd be keen to know. I was like, okay, no pressure. Um,
So what's
and
coming up for you so far working with Meerkat energy?
well, I had a look at so part of me was like, initially I was, before I looked anything up on the internet, I was thinking like, what is like a meerkat? And like, to me, there's definitely like a sort of cheeky curiosity, you know, where they're all kind of like, and
Alertness was the first thing I
yes,
thought of. They're very alert to like what's going on in their surroundings.
and then the other thing that kept coming through was that stupid advert, compare the market with Sergey and the other. It's like, oh. But when I was doing a little bit of digging around meerkat as a spirit animal, it turns out meerkats are actually very sociable and community orientated animals, but they're very boundaried. So they don't operate in massive communities. It's like
Okay.
smaller circles, I think, but they're very protective, where some of the alertness would be is, you know, they're always sort of scanning and looking out for stuff. And then, so Jane had suggested some things in order how to connect, and one of them is like to go and do like a journey, like, and get a healing from them. So in like and so I went to my little Reiki cave, and I did this yesterday morning, and invited the meerkat in. So this is where, like, for me, some of this, it's not difficult. That's not the right word. It's more, I was maybe going to say challenging, but it's more around learning to just lean into what is and not overthinking and not letting the ego or my inner critic get in the way of these things. And so that's why I kind of thought this is a really good opportunity, because like there's no right or wrong. I'm not working with anyone else. It is literally me. So I went to get the healing. So I did it yesterday morning, and it's really interesting, because when I think about working with the spirit of meerkat, there's about 5 of them. So it's weird that like, and I was like, well, maybe there's just one, and I was like, no, there's an energy of like multiple, which I thought, given what I'd researched, I thought maybe I've forced that. But even when I come back to thinking about it, it's like there's like a few of them. It's like more pets.
I visualised it when you first said about like there's more meerkats. It was like in Madagascar, do you know? Like I imagine it, like they're coming round you, and you've got them like around you in the healing cave, and they're like, I don't know. I imagine the energy to be really like lively and playful, and like they're having fun. Like, do you know that scene where they're all dancing in Madagascar? Actually, that's such a feel good movie for me. As they just like are just living life, do you know, just having the best time and partying, and that's what I imagine the little meerkats around you being like, yeah, we're gonna have.
Well, it started off, it was interesting because like it was like when they came in, I imagined there was about 3 or 4 of them at my feet.
Oh.
And then I was like, because I was asking in the context of a healing, and I was thinking to myself, and then it made me think of Louise Hay. I'm sort of working my way through like one of her books, and so she obviously has daily affirmations that she works with, but the other thing that she is a non-negotiable for her is wherever she has regular reflexology, and wherever she went to visit, or she had, because she's obviously no longer here, and whenever she visited a new place, she would always go for a reflexology session. And she was like, you take care of your feet because they're your connection to the earth, it's your foundation and things. And I thought, this is interesting. And then the other thing was, then one of the other meerkats came up, was like on my sort of belly, like, and then it was like as it went on, it just sort of lay there. And then I had, when you were saying about the meerkats going round, is then I just had this like they were all kind of like around me in the bed. It was like, but they weren't like dancing, but it was like a ring of them, like a protective ring.
Oh
So I was like,
wow.
and then my drumming check, and I was also doing it first thing in the morning, so I was half awake, half asleep. But um,
It's the best
so I was
time for
like,
meditation when you're like tapped in. You're more tapped
yeah.
in, conscious first thing in the morning.
Well,
It's
I
amazing
use,
self
I mean,
to.
I had a drumming check on, so that was a bit better. But um, so yes, that's my challenge for July is working with, and so I've been using my tarot cards a bit to say what's the message from them today,
That's
like
so cool.
um,
Excited to hear more about the meerkats and how that energy shows up for
yeah.
you. Like what messages they bring you as well. I haven't worked with
It was
animals for a
interesting when it
while.
came through and when I did a little bit of research, and I thought to myself, particularly where it talks about like the, let me just, um, I did have it open because I was like, it's useful to have it there. When it was talking about like community and like their sociable but boundaried, and I thought this is really
Yeah.
interesting. Like, I mean, obviously Jane doesn't know what's like been going through like my head recently, but you know that like community is important. It's on in my astrology, it's in my design, but then also being boundaried. It's not about being everybody's pal. There's an element of
Yeah.
discernment, and I thought maybe this is partly what the meerkat is um, here to show me is about, you know, because it's that finding your community that is the right community.
Yeah.
Um, so, like I've just looked it up again. So it says the core meaning of meerkat. So it's rooted in its so awareness and vigilance, community and teamwork, protection, curiosity, adaptability, communication, and balance. On a spiritual, the meerkat often appears as a reminder to stay grounded in reality while remaining spiritually aware. Protect your energy from negativity or hidden threats. Value your relationships and community connections and develop sharper intuition and situational awareness.
Oh,
And it can
cool.
also be linked to resilience. So I
That's
was like,
very
it's so
cool.
funny, isn't it? When you think, you know, when you get given these animals. And then I think somebody else has been, somebody was given a thing and an object rather than,
Oh,
yeah. But it's really fascinating, and actually, um, it's just yeah, and then you just think it's creating the time, isn't it?
yeah. That's what I've been reminding myself to actually carve the time for the connection to, you know, like the animal world and the spirit world and ancestors and things like that, because it's like just because I've had so much occupying my mental space and my emotional space is like some things have not fallen by the wayside, but I haven't prioritised them in the way that I had been when I've been out in the van, and you know, like my energy was at the forefront of in terms of the time that I spent. And it's just I've been reminded of that, the importance of that to my overall well-being and in my connection to myself and to my spirit team, and also in feeling grounded. It's like that balance, like you said, as above so below, is like that balance between the two of being grounded. Like I feel like I've leaned a little bit more into the groundedness, probably because I feel like I'm needing that support in my life. But then it's also like that I've been reminded that it serves me to still stay tapped in and to have that connection. And I mean, I meditate still every day, but I've been doing my meditation in the evening, like before I go to sleep. It's just sort of like helping me, because I always do music meditations. Like there's something in it that when you're listening to the same track, your mind associates it with sleep. Like that's been helping me to get to sleep at night. So I've been doing that then, but there's no reason that I can't at the moment be doing a morning meditation too, or carving out time during my day. But it's just being intentional about it, right? And it's making that time and getting into the new routine so that I'm starting my day in a way that I feel really connected to myself. Especially when you've got a lot going on in your life that you're processing, is like carving that time that's just for you, where you are feeling more connected and you're also seeing the bigger perspective of everything, because like we can get so bogged down into like the what's happening in our day-to-day lives and in our immediate relationships and things. Like sometimes we do forget that like on the grander scheme of life and everything else, like we're just a blip. And it can be a beautiful blip, this life, but it's a blip in the grand scheme of things, and there's so much more outside of it. And yeah, it helps me anyway to be able to have that time and to connect in. So I've been having this bit of a word with myself about, Sandra, get back into doing your morning meditation. It was always my favourite time of the day to meditate, but I've just got out of the habit. You know, that's the thing when you're any sort of a guide, or, you know, if you're sharing not only your own experience but guiding others through things, it's like, it's, you know, we're still human, and it's like sometimes we need to remember to practice what we preach. So I'm not just here being like, best time of day is to meditate is in the morning, when I'm not even doing that myself.
Yeah.
But it's life, right? And life gets in the way sometimes, and it disrupts routines and habits. And that's why we then like find our way back through experiencing the contrast. So, yeah.
And it's what we end up prioritising, isn't it? Because we think that it's easier to just let these things slide,
Yeah.
do something else, when actually if you keep those habits, how you show up for the other stuff, actually when shit's hitting the fan and you're under pressure and stress and there's a lot going on, is actually keeping those habits helps you like be more compassionate to yourself and others, and how you deal with and how you respond to when life is in chaos.
Yeah,
But
totally.
we think life is in chaos, so I don't have the ability to do that. But it's then I was reading, I think I shared a quote yesterday on TikTok, or it was something about like Tara Moore. I was reading where often when these things happen, and I've been dwelling on time a lot, is we think what we need is self-discipline, but actually if we did self-compassion or self-love, it's actually, that is the gateway to starting, to getting things done, to doing things. The done is better than perfect. You know, when we're kind to ourselves, rather than, you know, because we, you know, I'm as guilty as the next person, thinking, well, I've got all these things I want to do and want to achieve, I just need to time block my thing, or I should just do this, or, you know, whereas actually, you know, maybe that's not the best way in which to progress.
Yeah.
And using the self-compassion as a better gateway.
Yeah. It's so much gentler, and it's like, I think that's the thing as well, is like, it's the patriarchy, isn't it? We're conditioned to believe that it's like you work hard, and you know, you're hard on yourself, and you just need more discipline, you just need more willpower. It's such a masculine way of working, and while there's so much of that serves us in the world that we live in, right, it's like it's really missing out on the fact that a lot of the reason behind why people don't take action in their lives is because they don't feel either good about themselves, or they don't feel safe to be able to do the things that they want to do, or they feel overwhelmed because there's so much demands from the outside world and expectations from others on what you're meant to do in a day. And it's like, I think it's finding that balance, right, between the masculine and the feminine, of like the masculine being the action, and then the feminine leaning in more into the inner world, and being gentler with yourself, like you say, like having compassion with yourself, and actually digging into, why am I not doing this thing that I say is meaningful to me? Like, what's underneath that? What's underlying that? Because there's normally something underneath that, and it's not to do with laziness, it's not to do with not being disciplined, or not working hard enough. It's not to do with those things. It's to do with, there's something underneath there. It's normally a need that isn't being met within ourselves. So it's, maybe that need is compassion, maybe it's self-love, maybe it's being gentler on yourself, or a different way of doing things. But that's where the high priestess comes in, right? Because it's like going inwards, making that time, taking the time for self-reflection, for meditation, going in and sitting with what's underlying why I'm not taking action on certain things, and what is it that's a need. maybe the need is for me to slow down and for me to honour my body and what my body's going through, or maybe it's that I'm feeling mentally overwhelmed and there's things on my plate that I can't handle. Like getting really honest with yourself, like actually sitting and taking the time to reflect instead of being like, oh, I need to do more, I need to be more, I need to overperform in certain areas of my life. It's like, where can you reprioritise certain things that matter, but doing it from a way that is like more loving to yourself. Like the internal dialogue, I know I'm not alone in this, I know from speaking to others and working with others over the years, is that we are our own worst critics. We can be the internal dialogue. Like you think to yourself, what goes on in your head? Would you ever speak to a friend like that, somebody that you love? And this is the thing, we've got Mercury retrograde in Cancer, Mercury ruling the mindset. It's like, what's going on in your mind space? How are you speaking to yourself? Like, is it words of kindness and encouragement and being the nurturer, which is Cancer, the sign of the mother? It's like, are you being the nurturing mother to yourself, kind and gracious and encouraging? Or is it an internal dialogue that you've adopted from the world around you or from what you grew up with that was maybe not the healthiest around like how you receive love and respect and you're valued? What's that dependent on? And that's what Mercury retrograde in Cancer can really be asking us to like dig deep into. It's like our emotional safety, us feeling safe in the world to be our authentic selves and to shine in the way that we want to shine and to speak our truth. Mercury ruling communication, it's asking us to speak our truth. This is why this is a good time for me to do a pitch for my new product that I've actually got. We need some background music, but actually I created, because of all of this, I've created a workbook which is guiding you through understanding your own personal Mercury placements, understanding what this retrograde means to you, because everybody's chart's different, right? So while we can talk about the overview of Mercury retrograde in Cancer or any other transits, you know, you've got specific placements within your chart. So I've created something to help you understand your own personal placements, but also to be able to dig into what do they mean? What do they mean for you? There's like some journaling questions in there, there's step-by-steps, there's cheat sheets. There's also a closing ritual as well for you to release the past, release what doesn't serve you. And it includes a video as well, which is a breakdown of the transit that's taken place, as well as a bit else that's going on in the sky over the course of July. That rhymes and I didn't even intend. So we'll include the link anyway if it's something that you're interested in. But this energy it's always an invitation, I always think, with astrology, with the transits that take place. It's like, you know, there's this moment in time, this period that a transit is taking place, that's an opportunity for us to work with that energy. And I've said for a long time, Mercury retrograde gets a bit bad rap. And I think that it's like, how do we work with that energy? It's like with any other transit as well. Like, how can we use this as a time of introspection where maybe we take a bit of a pause and we get clear on what really matters to us, and we get clear on, you know, the reasons behind why we have not taken action in certain things, or why we've not shown up in the way that we wanted to show up, or why we've not communicated our truth in the way that we really wanted to. Like, where have we suppressed ourselves? Where have we kept ourselves small? All of these things are coming up just now for review. And I wanted to create something that, you know, over the course of the next few weeks, while we're moving through this energy, is like that you can get to the other side of that and be clearer on yourself and how you're going to move forward differently going forward. And that's where you take back your power, right? It's like, that's where you take back your inner power to be able to create positive change in your life. And astrology is just one of the tools. Like, tarot's a tool. You know, we've got all these beautiful tools, your embodiment and kundalini and human design and all of these different things. So it's like, find the tools and the systems and different things that work for you, that resonate for you, and use that high priestess energy. It's like that intuition, like, what's your intuition calling you towards? There's something in that for you. And I always encourage everybody to follow that, the little nudges that you get, to follow down a path or to sign up to a course or to a class or a workshop. Like, that's the other thing with Mercury as well. It's like how we process information, it's learning. So now's a great time to review if there's something, a subject that you want to be learning about. And if it is something in the spiritual world or whatever it is for you, something that lights you up. It could be something from the past that you had parked because you didn't prioritise something that you really wanted to do, and you put other things higher up the list. So yeah, that's just a little bit of an overview of Mercury retrograde at the moment, and it's going to be retrograding until the 23rd of July, and then we'll have a post-shadow period on the other side of that, which is generally a couple of weeks. It's like a bit of a wrap-up period before it moves on. So, oh, there's a wee birdie. Love watching the birds in this garden.
I can attest to the richness of the workbook as well.
I sent it over to Gail to be like, it's always good to have another set of eyes, because like, as somebody who has had a history of perfectionism, I get a recovering perfectionist here. It's a process. But yeah, like I think with these things you can get to a point where you overwork something, and I didn't want to overcomplicate it. I wanted to keep it simple and also fill it with a lot of value. So I'd sent it over to Gail to get, because I very much trust her judgment and her perspective. So her eyes have shone over what I've created, which I'm very grateful for. Thanks, G. Got some very lovely feedback.
And I think, you know, it's such a... astrology is such a big topic, and obviously the more we talk about it, the more I learn from you around certain things, and you know, and I think to be able to distill it down into a way that is understandable, manageable, personal, you know, I think it really helps, because like, you know, you can search on the internet to your heart's content, and you can also use like ChatGPT and everything like that, but nothing beats tuning into yourself. And even if you did do the workbook and then fired it into ChatGPT for its additional insights, cool, but come from, excuse me, that's the high priestess bit coming in as well. It's like that kind of go to yourself first. I've found that I've been really reflecting on AI recently, and like, because I do use it to expedite things, and sometimes because I can't afford to have business mentors, astrologists, blah, 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 you know, so sometimes I do have conversations with AI about things. But I think it comes back to still exercising discernment. And the reason why, so this week it actually pissed me off. I don't normally get annoyed, because it gave me, and this is my own fault probably, because I've invited challenge from AI, because sometimes it's good rather than it just being a yes tool where it's just blowing hot air up your ass. Like, you know, can you use it to challenge your perspective? And I had put a transcript from the Unstuck Edit in there, and I asked it to summarise for show notes, because I was like, I could do it myself, but it'll do it in like a fraction of the time. And it was the transcript, so words directly from my mouth. And then it said to me, oh, this is the great Epsilon Gail. And you know, you're like, yeah, thanks. yes. Blah, blah. But then it was like, if I may make one observation, I was like, I'm sorry, I just asked you for show notes. And then it said to me, so it said, I started off in the same way, like we are very chatty, our style is very chatty. We don't just come in with, hey, how's the high priestess showing up for you today? And then go into the chat, like, you know, and that's how I am in person. If I meet you in person, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, what, you know, do you know if you wore such and such a colour, it would be much better, you know? So, but basically ChatGPT was trying to tell me to get better traction on my thing is to start with the hook in my YouTube video. And I was like, I sat with it, because I was like, this may be true from a marketing point of view, but is that actually in alignment with me, like my intuition, how I want to connect with people? And then I was thinking, this is all driven from the fact that people's attention span has just dissolved, because everything's so instant, pew, 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 you know, and actually people want to bypass doing the work. They want to bypass like actually getting to know the individual that is providing you with some advice or guidance. Like, where's your discernment on whether that person is for you or not? And
Yeah.
so I was kind of a bit aggrieved, and I know that like come when I sit down next week to do my stuff, I know that that comment will have sort of permeate into my psyche a little bit. But and I always sort of say I'm going to talk about blah blah blah. But I don't script it because I'm also like it's me, it's authentically me. I might have notes around things I want to
Yeah.
cover, but I'm like, so I got really narked at AI. And this comes
That's the
back to
thing.
like I was just gonna say, like, from like your workbook, how you set it out is actually to help you figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
And
That's what I
it's a
want to
really
do,
hand
and that's
holding, but it's like
yeah.
it's still you figuring it out for you. It's
Yeah.
not, you know.
And that was a big thing for me, was like that you can put certain things into AI, no bother, but it's like what I want to do, and and all of the work that's always been underlying everything that I do is I want to empower people to use certain tools and find the answers within themselves, make sense of things themselves. And like coming back to your point about like part of the issue is that, you know, people's attention spans are dissolving, and that's another danger of AI, is because people
Oh,
are no longer thinking for themselves. It's like, I am not against it by any means. It really helps me in terms of like structure, and also like with the tech side of things in business, because the stuff I know fuck all about, that I'm like, I'm just here learning. I don't know how to
oh,
use these systems and all of that. But I think there's a danger with it, that we're not, if we use it too much, that we lose the essence of who we are, especially if you're using it in your work, people, is like you lose the essence of who you are. You lose what the goal is that you even started with, because you're then getting input from something that's not even a human, that is encouraging you to do things in a different way, or to present things in a different way that is inauthentic to you. And then it's like you're then molding yourself to a piece of fucking AI, which is not it. So I
and
think
it
there's like
loses
real
the
need for
essence of,
balance.
yeah, and it loses the essence of kind of like who you are around,
Aha.
we are all so individual, and like, just as
Yeah.
you were talking there about, how Mercury retrograde shows up for each of us is very different because of like how our charts are very different. And you've got themes, but then that kind of interpretation, there's the personalization bit on it. And I don't know, it's like sometimes I just think, it's not like I want to run away and shut myself in a cupboard, but it was a wake up call for me around, and I was thinking about like how am I using AI in my life, because I was like, you've suddenly now challenged me to almost show up differently to how I am, because it will get me more traction. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, there is an element in that around, yes, I want more people to find my work, but I want the right people to find my work. And if those people that are finding, because if I change, because it was like, this is all lovely background about your dog being sick and blah blah blah, right? But I was like, if the people that come to me don't like me like whittering on about like my dog not being well, because the stories are actually how we help communicate
And
and
connect.
connect, and
Yeah.
also illustrate that this is lived experience. Like, I can
Yeah.
relate to you, you can relate to me, because we both had a dog where it's been up in the middle of the night with the shits. And then so you're just like, yeah, I totally get you, that's a nightmare. And then so you're suddenly you want to listen to me. But if I sit there and go, because actually it was talking about grounding, um, what does grounding mean? Or like, unpopular opinion on grounding. Like, I'm like, is that the person who really is going to stick around? Probably not. Like,
Yeah.
but the person who's like, oh, I can relate to that. It might not be my dog, or like, I've just so sleep deprived at the moment, and blah, blah, blah. And actually, do you know what? I'm just going to watch this or listen to this. And, because I was like, they're the person I want to hang out with, not the
Yeah.
person who's like, unpopular opinion, clickbait. I'm
Yeah.
just
I
like,
know. I know. I
it's just
feel
so
yeah.
hard. And
And
then
I
you
think
just
it's
think,
like it's been able to find the balance between like, you know, the whole hook thing is like people, I suppose, on social media, especially if they don't know you, if they've not been around for a while to know who you are and what kind of things you talk about, is like, I suppose there's having in some way, something on the screen even, in order to let them know the context of the video. But
Well, there is, because there's always a thumbnail. This is what I found funny
yeah.
about, like, it was like, well, maybe you would get if you just started the chat with this, and I was just like, I know I have given you permission to challenge
But
me.
fuck you.
I know, but then you sort of think, actually, do you know what? That's quite a good thing, because actually it has chat, and then I'm thinking, well, okay, well, maybe if I want to get some more view, but then it makes me think, well, what's my objective of this piece of thing that I've created? And then you start to think, so it starts to then create more of the discernment. It starts to connect me to actually what do I want? What is my intuition telling me? So like my intuition was telling me that's just me changing who I am because AI's told me. And then I could feel my body giving it, oh, like, you know, so actually by it challenging me has actually given me the opportunity to learn, to sort of feel into what does intuition feel like to me, to go away and ponder it. But you do just think not everybody is going to have that discernment, and some people will take that and be like, right, okay, I need to now start every video with, like, you know, whatever it is, not just have the text on the screen or the show notes or the searchable words or whatever, blah blah blah, right? And I just was like, and so I don't know, it's just really made me sort of reflect on stuff, and then you think, you know, maybe as we move more in towards sort of the age of Aquarius, we'll start to, like, it feels like this sort of masculine energy, and this is like it's really reaching a peak, maybe, and then
Yeah. Yeah, I actually pulled, I was doing a collective reading on TikTok, and one of them was bringing up the mirroring that's going on between the masculine and feminine, and the need for more safety in the world, and how we're all part of creating that safety. And it's looking at what is the role that we play in creating a safer world for everybody, where there's not this imbalance of power. And it's so funny because when I do these collective readings, I don't know where they're going to go. Like when I start out, sometimes it'll be with a download that I get, or a song that starts playing, or an image that I get. So that'll sort of kickstart a reading, and it's not until the cards come out that I see where it's going. And it's not that it's unusual, but it's less common for me to get like very big themed collective messages like that. But that one, it was significant, and it's a message that's important, I think, for everybody. And again, tying it back to this Mercury retrograde in Cancer, at the core of it, it is about safety. And, you know, the axis of Cancer and Capricorn on the wheel is the masculine and feminine, really. And it's that energy of trying to find the balance of that within ourselves, the balance of the masculine and feminine, between doing and being, and also like in the world around us, because there's too much inequality. There is too much where the world has gone too far into this dominating energy where people are, it's like a poor use of power, and trying to have power over other people, especially minorities, and women not being treated fairly. And I think that we're seeing glimpses of, like, there's a lot of chat about the rise of the matriarchy and stuff, and the rise of the divine feminine, is like there's glimpses of that in places. I think it's the Prime Minister in like Sweden got off a flight. I saw a video of her. She got off a flight and she had her baby in a sling, and she was going off to a meeting in Parliament with her baby on her, and it was a beautiful representation of like what the world could be like if it was like more of a balance between, like, you know, the feminine and the masculine, like still being able to show up and do the job, but not at the cost of other things that are important in your life. And it was just this little glimpse of seeing that I thought it's really powerful. And there's so much change that needs to happen in the world, and I think that can get really overwhelming when you're like I'm just one person, what's the role that I play in it all? But then it starts with you in your own life and how you show up and the choices that you make and all of these things, and that's what shapes your life, and the ripple effect of that's really powerful. And you know, you can say I'm just one person, but then you could also say Donald Trump's just one person.
Absolutely. And it's
So
about perseverance, resilience, patience, like keeping going. And you
yeah,
know, we've talked about this a bit before around, you know, obviously our pod, but then individually what we're trying to do. And, you know, and it would be easy to do a U-turn and be like, well, it's quite difficult to sometimes exist and share and help people and still pay your bills.
yeah,
But that's about like keeping going, you know, and I just think I don't know, it's just weird times at the moment, and I don't know if it is just because we're in this sort of transitional period between times.
major like major transits are taking place. Like we're recording this on the 3rd of July, and on the 4th of July we have Mars meeting Uranus in Gemini, and historically that has been major. I mean, it was the foundation of America, you know, when it was what did they say, colonialized, is that the word?
When it was still part of Britain.
The 4th of July, Independence Day, and all that, the irony when you look at the state of America at the moment. We'll not get into the politics, but the energy of the 4th of July is very powerful. Like Uranus is the planet of like unexpected, of sudden revelations, of change, and it's meeting the planet Mars, which is in the light sense, it's willpower, it's determination, it's action and drive. Then the shadow aspect is war and destruction and fire and all of this stuff. So those two meeting together on the 4th of July is an interesting conjunction.
That's quite funny timing, isn't it?
It is. Well, this is the thing, you're like, there's no coincidences. Like everything happens in cycles. And it's just so interesting to look at what's going on in the sky, and then you wonder, how's this going to show up in the world and also in our personal lives, right? Because I think that's the thing with astrology, is like there's the impact on you as an individual and how you can work with the energies, but then there's also like the collective. It's like what's happening on a more global scale. So there's almost like these two lenses that we can look at it through, and it's how do they marry up with each other, I suppose. So it's all very interesting. Lots of change on the horizon, but we knew that was going to be the case. It's a fire horse year. It is the year for change, for movement, for, you know, trying new things as well, like trying things, testing things out, and being bold in the action that you're taking, and being bold in your belief in yourself. And tying back to like Jupiter and Leo, it's like shining, no longer playing small. Channel that beautiful sun energy, like sun rules Leo. So it's like, it's that beautiful sun energy, which I always think is really beautiful when I look at our two chart scale, because I'm like, you're ruled by the sun and I'm ruled by the moon. And it's like we've got this balance. They're just so cool. That our paths even crossed, and we're here recording a podcast talking about the woo.
I know. I do love that.
I love it too.
It's been a wee while since we, I think about a month, just with life, things in the way, but we're back. We're back, baby.
We're back. So thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you.
Good chat.
Yeah, it's been good to get back and to have a chin wag and all.
Eyes.
We chin wag on the pod. I always think with this, it's like you guys listening, and I don't know if like you could let us know if you feel this, but I always like thought it must be like just being a fly on the wall of like a conversation.
Well, it was like, do you remember when we were chatting about it? And I'm sure it's in our description on like Spotify or something, but around, it's like listening in on a cafe to two people having a chat, and it's the sort of like earwigging that forces you, or what we hope is it forces you to get another cuppa, so that you can continue like eavesdropping in on what's happening. So it's
And the kind of conversation that you'd be like, oh, I'd really like to just like move over and go and sit at their table.
I know. Well, message us.
I know. If you
We've only
do,
had one guest on so
come
far.
join us.
I know, which was
Yeah.
obviously Sam with our talking about the Miniki, which actually I'm going to receive the Miniki next month.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. God, August comes round quick, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
So quick.
People keep pestering me about what I want and what I want to do for my birthday.
The big birthday.
I don't know, I'm just not fussed for it. And then I realised how I've changed because, like, you know, every sort of big birthday was always like, yay, let's go out, let's do this, let's party, let's have a big party. And now I'm like, I was like, because Bob was like, you know, what do you want and what do you want to do? And so I was like, I actually thought to myself when I was away last week, why don't I write a list of all the things that I would like to do just generally, and then maybe we could pick one.
Yeah. And what would make it special for you? What would make you feel special?
It not being on a Monday.
Aww. It's the moon's day as well. Monday's
Do you
the
know I was
moon's
born
day.
on a full moon?
Were you?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, I was born on a Tuesday. And yeah, no, apparently I was looking at something and it was, I can't remember what it was, but I was like, oh, I didn't know I was born on a full moon.
Cool.
So yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. I think I would like. I mean, obviously, I've sort of, because the Miniki rights is like literally like 3 days before my birthday. I'm like, that's a nice gift, and that was a bit of a gift to myself, really.
Well, I would invite you to reflect on what would make because it's a milestone, girl. It is. It's a beautiful milestone.
Half a century,
What would-
Sandra. How the
yeah.
fuck did that happen?
And you think of all you've been through and the lead up to that. So I invite you to think about or reflect on what would make it special, what would make it really special for you, memorable, and also what would make you feel special. Make it feel special because you deserve to feel special.
Thank you.
You do. It's a big birthday. It's exciting.
Yeah, it is. Please feel free to pop in the comments or message us around ideas that would make a 50th birthday feel special.
Yeah. Or you can share with us if you've passed that yourself, if you've celebrated your 50th, what made it special for you. What made it special? Yeah. It'll only happen once, right? You'll only be 50 once.
Till the next lifetime.
Till the next rodeo. Oh, coming out quicker than we think, eh? Oh, mental.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Right.
dearie. Right,
I think that's a
people.
good point to end. Until the next time.
Until the next time. Much love for now.
Later.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you have enjoyed what we were chatting about, please leave us a comment. We'd love to hear what landed. And please feel free to share this with a pal if you know anyone who would be interested. Until the next episode. See you later.